Hey everyone, it's Ken,
Ray,
Two Drunk Brothers Garage.
Another day out here. We're gonna be working on Goldie. Going over some stuff. Not sure what all we're gonna hit, so we're just gonna start working down the list, and we'll show you as we go.
Yep.
But
Stay tuned.
stay tuned. Let's go. All right. We already drug the battery out. First thing is Kenny's gonna work on seeing if we ground that alternator, if we can get that charging again. We'll have to go get the multimeter because I forgot that. Kenny's gonna hopefully get rid of our
Death belt.
Plural.
Both.
This one's actually not probably too bad, but we might as well just change them both out.
Yep.
And I think I'm gonna come in here, sit on the
Newly upholstered seat.
yes, the newly upholstered seat, which we did that. I got a video that I'll put in here of us doing that, but you know, newly upholstered with Gorilla Tape. But go ahead and I'm gonna pull that back off and see if we can get the ignition to actually
Work.
provide the power when we turn it on. So here we go. Well, folks, I bought a reupholstery kit for the driver's side seat, and it's called Gorilla Tape. So I think this should work pretty darn good if I can get into it. They're plastic, tougher than maybe they're tape. There we go. Good Lord. But I think this will work pretty good for, you know, for what we're going to use it for. Oh, look at that. The pattern's pretty darn close too. Oh, hold on one second. Got me there we go. We might have to do a couple strips on some of this, but I think overall
It'll kind of save the seat a little bit.
Yeah,
until he gets new.
Well, this Goldie might never get new
interior.
Yeah, we're not going for anything high dollar on Goldie.
Actually, the seat. This is the only seat that's really tore up. The rest of the stuff is actually just a nice cleanup. The passenger seat is in really good condition. Just needs a good cleaning.
And maybe, I mean, I don't know with these upholstery kits, just a good cleaning like Kenny said, because
I mean, the seats are overall.
This is the only seat that's really messed up.
This is the back still in good condition. I mean,
so maybe
you can buy a new cover for it. Shoot, if you.
I wonder if they sell them in sets or if you can just buy one. I don't know.
They're probably sets, I would imagine. But Gorilla Tape's pretty damn sticky. I don't think it's going to go anywhere anytime soon. Especially once it starts getting a little warmer, that stuff will get really sticky and stick down really good.
I was just thinking of that when you said warmer. I was having flashbacks to Michigan in the summer in the 80s, getting in and out of the black upholstered GTO seats at the beach. Oofta on the bare skin.
Yeah. There.
Well,
brand new seat cover.
Brand new-ish.
Yeah.
Brand newish.
200-mile-an-hour tape.
She's still pulled away from there, but I think overall that's going to work.
Yep.
Just fine. We put a little pressure on her. Oh, there we go. Whew, it's like a brand new seat.
Okay, everyone. So there's this small wire coming off of the negative cable. This wire has to go to the back of the alternator. This should cause the generator light on the dashboard to go out. That's probably why it's not grounding out. So I'm going to cut this off and put a new terminal on there and get it on to the alternator.
All right, so I do have the ignition in here, and I put the steering wheel back on when we took her for a ride the other day. I forgot to check to see if that went up or not while we took it for a drive. I got a picture. I'll have to verify if the odometer's working. The speedometer was working. The gas gauge was working. But anyhow, I'm going to go ahead and get this steering wheel pulled back off. And then I got the manual section printed out here. I'm going to go through this, just see if we can figure it out, because this is what it's doing when it's just nothing there. It doesn't spring back. It doesn't move. It springs that way, which is kind of weird. But there's just something not working in this, so that's what I'm working on.
Okay, so I got that new end on the wire, and I got it on there tight. So I need to go get a multimeter, and then we'll start this up and see if the alternator is now charging. Okay, so there's an extra, they have an extra battery ground here. This end is all foobarred. So, and it's hooked right there. I'm gonna take that bolt out. So we don't need 2 ground wires, just to get rid of unnecessary wire. Okay, I got that wire off. So now we don't have that on there no more. Got the bolt all tightened back up. So now I'm gonna take the alternator and the power steering belts off and change them. We got all new ones. Got 2 new ones. So that's next.
Looking through this manual, there's ignition switch slider that should be down on the steering column, and the rod, which is right there, that moves that unit, which twists that over there, that flat piece right there, that flat piece, see it moving there, that flat piece is what lines up in the bottom of the ignition stick. So that rod right there goes down, right there's the end of it. And there's no ignition switch slider on the steering column down there. So, and I don't know if it bolts up into those 2 holes, or there's actually only 1 hole. I got to do some more research, but I don't think I have all the pieces I need. Maybe it bolts to that guy right there, but I don't even see a wiring harness down here for it, so I got to do a little bit more research, digging around up in there to find out what I got. Or maybe it's that right there. Look at that. I just found it, folks. Maybe. Maybe not. Maybe. we'll keep digging.
So somebody took that fucking ignition switch out of there. That's the actual ignition switch.
Okay, well, I pulled that out, and then I pulled a little harder, and that came out, and I believe that is my ignition switch slider.
Yep.
And right there's the hole for where that slider goes. So I got to find the hardware, which we have that Gerber jar over there that has screws in there, and start reassembling this and get the new ignition stick in there and find out if we can get her working.
So this is the power steering belt, and she didn't have much left other than the outside ring here holding her together.
That's why I was calling her Death Belt.
Yeah, because she's and this thing has GM numbers on it, so I'm wondering, this thing ain't the original power steering belt. I wouldn't think so for being this old, but
Could have been new old stock, probably even in 91, and we think this came off the road then, so
yeah,
could have probably still got GM belts 20 years later, maybe, I don't know.
maybe. But yeah, she's pretty ratty.
Time for a new one.
Time for a new one.
Get busy.
Got her. Okay, so I got the old belt off. Got the new power steering belt on for that. So now I just got to get the fan belt back on. Actually, fan and alternator belt. So I'm gonna grab that real quick while I'm got you on here. And the nice thing was the power steering belt doesn't have to go, you don't have to put it around the fan to get it on. It can go just around the bottom of the crank. But this one here, I gotta feed around the fan and get it on there. So I'm gonna get that going. All right, got the new alternator belt on and it's nice and tight. So I'm gonna hook the battery up and whirl this thing over and see if she's charging now that I got this ground wire to the alternator.
All right, I got that ignition switch mounted. Did have the 2 screws there. Now this is the backup switch, backup light switch, backup switch, I can't remember. I gotta figure out where that mounts now. I got a couple more small screws, so I gotta figure out where that goes. And then just start slowly reassembling. And let's hope this bad boy works and they didn't have it apart for some other nefarious reason.
Okay, so now I got the battery hooked up, I got the distributor wire hooked up, and I got our manual start wire here. You want to pump the gas a couple times there, brother?
Yeah.
And can you do it with it? Yeah. And I'm gonna fire it up. Look at that. She's running smooth. Now we're gonna check to see if we're charging.
It was 12.3, so
12.48. Shouldn't that be up to like 14?
it should be. It is going up though.
I wonder
Oh,
if
the alternator might be a little weak.
So I wonder if the generator light went off on the dash.
I'll check.
Nope, generator light's still on.
Gen light's still on.
See the red light over there on the dash? There it is. So we'll have to do some other testing, I guess.
But she fired right up and went to a high idle. Love
Yeah, so that's a win.
Okay, so when we went to pull the coil wire off out there to shut the engine off after testing the alternator and everything, the car didn't shut off. But that's because I had the ignition switch slider back installed here and the slider in. So I had to come with a pair of pliers and mimic turning off the ignition with the key. Then we decided to see if we could fire it up with the key, but it won't. And now we're wondering if that ignition switch is just bad. So, well, I have this all tore apart. The local O'Reilly's has one. It's $30.
Well, most expensive is $34. There's different ones here. So
Okay.
we would have to figure out.
We're gonna pull that off. We're gonna pull the old one off. Just go down to O'Reilly's, match it up, and just well, I got it all tore apart. We might as well do it. If that's the problem, we'll find out. Okay. Upon further troubleshooting, we did not go to O'Reilly's because this guy, once you slide, that's in the off position. If you slide it there, that's the accessories. And when you slide it there, you get continuity between the main power pins and the pin marked A, which I'm going to go off on a limb and say that that's accessories. And then when you go forward to the run position, it passes continuity to the most of the pins, except for the pin that's marked S, which is right here. These are the two main pins. You get power to the S, which I'm going to go on a limb once again and say it's the starter, because when you push this all the way forward, it's spring loaded. You have to put a pair of needle nose in there and push it all the way forward, and it springs back, which would mimic your going to the start position on your ignition stick, and then when you let go, it bounces back to the run position. So we got power or continuity to all of the terminals at various points in the slide. So we think that's good. Why we think that it wasn't starting when we were grabbing this is because of the neutral safety switch was hanging down here, and we got it up there in its spot now. And I think that neutral safety switch was probably not in a park or neutral position on it, because it also has a slide that when Kenny's going to activate that rotates, that goes real slow, because I didn't tighten that down in there.
Yep.
I don't want to break it, but just leave it there. But so what we're saying, or what we're hoping, is that we
Didn't have the neutral safety switch in.
yeah. So
proper
we're gonna
position.
we're gonna bolt that neutral safety switch down in there. Sorry, it's not focusing. Down in there, we're gonna bolt it to the steering column. We'll put the starter slide switch back on the column, and then we'll see, before we put it all back together, to see if we're getting it to start from right here, which is the ultimate goal.
Yes.
Guy in a little space.
So Ray's stuck up underneath the dashboard here.
Fat guy in a little space. Ooh, hey, red and green. That's a good show. Red and green show. Wonder what the hell those are for. Anyhow, we're getting it. Maybe.
It's just, stuff is not made for big guys.
No.
I might have to go over there and pull him by his legs to get him out of here.
Yeah, that's gonna be the trick, is getting out. Getting in kind of slid right in like freaking greased butter, but I am scared about getting out. Just trying to get this neutral safety switch
Attached.
So
maybe it will start off the column with a pair of pliers.
Maybe. With a pair of pliers. Anyhow, we're working. Finally got it. Like, I don't know, 30 minutes later?
Yeah.
I'm going to say. All the while, Ken's been pushing buttons, shit rolling down on top of my face. He's a hell of a freaking helper out here while you got your head up underneath the dashboard.
Well, you can't get two big guys under the dashboard to turn two little
but
bit.
you don't have to be pushing buttons and knocking stuff out on me. Jeez. But there, that's tightened. So that one's done. Deserve this, or maybe not deserve it, but
He wants it.
Now to the next one. So we're just working on seeing if we can get the new ignition to line up. We are noticing when that's plugged in and lined up to the lock mark there, that the end piece is almost straight up and down that receives that piece. But this piece wasn't straight up and down, it was clocked forward a little bit like that. So we pulled this gear off of here because we also noticed in the mason jar, not the mason jar, the baby Gerber baby food jar, was this pin with a unique curve and everything. And we checked our instructions, so we know that goes in there. We think it's just an alignment pin. And then that plastic gear sets up in there. So we're just trying to clock this to where the gear is in there. This is pushed all the way forward to the lock position down on the ignition switch right there. And then we'll get this straight up and down. So hopefully we can put the ignition in and it's locked in the right spot. That's what we're working on. All right, everybody. See that spring washer right there? That's when you push the key in to unlock it, right? Well, we knew we had a broken piece, and I'm going to try to poke down in here. Right there is a broken piece of this housing, and it was in the baby food jar. There's actually two pieces in there. So obviously they broke this when they were tearing it apart or what, trying to get the old ignition out. Because, go ahead and push that in, Ken. When you push that in the housing, there's your locking tab. And that locking tab, pull it out a little bit. The locking tab is supposed to be between there and that broken piece of the housing. So that holds the whole ignition in. See, when Kenny's trying to engage the spring clip, see there's the proper gap there so you can push it in. But now it just slides the whole thing in. So you can't even unlock this new ignition because you can't engage that spring clip in there because this slides too deep into the housing because of that broken piece. So we need that part number housing 7805273, which is looking pretty impossible to find. So I'm gonna have to go online and try to find that, and Kenny's gonna pull the ignition back out. Okay. So that's one hang up. The other hang up, we went ahead and the ignition slide switch is there. The neutral safety switch, as you guys seen, I got it wired up back or mounted up back there. But even taking and trying to manually start the car from in here with a pair of pliers, it's not firing up. We can still do it with the clicker obviously out, but so we have steering column issues still, and now it's just trying to figure out path forward. Do I just put it back together with the steering wheel, bolt it up there, and
Doing an ignition.
we can put a little push button in here with a kill switch to kill power to the coil and just kind of hot wire it that way? I would much rather have this all built. I can buy a whole column, but they're $500, which is like half the cost of what paid for Goldie. So, yeah, we're gonna continue digging around, and that's where we are right now. So we are checking some things out. We have tail lights. But we didn't have backup lights when we went to reverse. But then when we went back to park, the backup lights stay on now. So that's interesting. We don't have brake lights. And we have dashboard lights. This ignition slide switch, when it's in the run position like it is right now, we have lights. But if we take and slide that to the off position, let's see if I can do this one-handed. Maybe if Kenny reaches in and holds it real quick. If we take that bad boy, slide it to the off position, everything goes off. It kills power through the fuse panel, and we should have no tail lights. No. Hey, we still got tail lights.
Because the headlights are on.
Oh, we have the headlights on. Ah, sorry, my bad. He just turned them off. So we're trying to get Goldie safe enough to go on the road, but the brake lights would be a good one. But we're working on some things. Not sure what we're going to do here with the steering column yet. Haven't made a decision, but it's getting late in the day. We might start wrapping it up. Oh, on another note, I had taken a picture of that the other day when I went to DMV for the mileage. It was 774,067. So the other day we went 0.7 miles. So the speedo, we knew the speedo worked, but the odo works too. Hey, Kenny was right. I misspoke. 77407.6 was what the picture was. So we went 0.8 of a mile the other day in the previous video. All right, we're jumping all over the place today, but that's all right. We are gonna bought the lock sets, so we're gonna do the trunk one. We're gonna do one more little project here before Kenny's got to head out. So we're hoping just to screw there. I don't think we have to pull the lock mechanism off. We shouldn't have to. I hope that's a little access panel in there so you can pull the retaining clip out. Kenny's maybe needs a... Oh, maybe that pulls the retaining clip out.
Yeah, let me get a screwdriver, a pair of pliers or something.
Anyhow, we're going to go ahead and see if we can get a lock on the trunk, because there's some good stuff in here. We got the Buick for the trunk, the Skylark, and the custom for the rear fenders. Got 4 hubcaps. We got spare parts. I was telling Kenny, didn't have to buy new belts. We had ones in here that were better than the ones on the car. Got some side trim pieces. So took the screw out and actually it's the whole clip, and it goes in that way, but there's that push down tab that you have to reach in with the screwdriver to push down to release it from the trunk there. And now that should pop right out. So there's the old one. We're gonna get the new one. And the new one comes with the rod that goes into the locking mechanism.
None of these are the same.
Yeah, 2 of them are the same, one's different. 2 are for the doors. Kenny's messing me up here.
Are they the same? The rod was already broke through. Now I gotta find the right one.
That one right there in your hand.
I'm trying to get that little rubber gasket to go with it. gotta figure out which way this goes in, but I'm imagining that goes in there like that. Okay.
Do you want to get the key and insert the key so you know which way is up and down on the lock?
Well, you can see up and down.
How do you know?
Just gotta match these holes with these fellers right here.
Maybe there's that.
Yeah.
But it looks like
no, I got two. There's one straight up to the side and one kind of off to the bottom one here is off.
Right. So there he goes, Heath. Now you want me to lift the lid so you can stick it in the hole, or you got it?
Okay, the rod is through, but it's not letting it. Oh, there it goes. So that's in there.
It's not all the way down yet.
Well, not until I get the.
Oh, yeah, we got to get the clip.
So this is gonna have to go.
Does the rod stay out that long, or do you trim it after?
Oh,
what?
how am I gonna get that on around the rod?
You got to push. You got to pull it out and push that all in through while that clips up in there.
Yeah.
So don't do what we just did, folks. Make sure you have the clip kind of back in.
Gotta get it in the hole, Kenny.
There.
Okay.
Need to spin just a hair to the.
You need to push forward.
Oh, you got it spun
No.
180 out.
No, I don't.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, where's that rubber gasket? That I forgot to put
There
that
is
back on.
There's a little rubber gasket that goes in there, but that can go up in there.
Oh yeah, it goes like this.
Yeah, it just goes up underneath that. All right, well, I'm going to give him a hand, and we'll show you when it's done. Kenny's just tighten up the last screw. Don't over tighten it. Was it stripped?
No, I didn't want to go no tighter though.
We got it in there. Even have the new rubber gasket on there. So now the trick is, I don't want to shut it yet.
Well, you're gonna have to shut it.
No, I want to see you cycle the key one more time. See?
Oh. Don't spring back though. What the hell?
And it's not moving the lock mechanism again.
Well, it's not supposed to. Click that up.
So it should theoretically work. Once it's there, that's locked, right?
Yeah.
Now turn the key. That should unlock it.
But it's like it's not. It's sticking. The key's staying flat. It's not. Yeah, the lock is not springing back good by itself.
Well, I don't care about that. You can manually turn it back, right? What I'm worried about is we go to shut this. As long as we can unlock it.
It should.
All right, well, let's test it out. Here we go.
What's the worst case scenario?
We drill in a lock. Locked. Open. I don't care that it doesn't spring back.
It works.
Ooh, big old spider. Ooh. He was coming right up the web at me. He was white. Anyhow, I think that's it for the night. Nobody can get in and steal my
Hubcaps.
hubcaps. Them's beauties. Okay.
Okay, everyone.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers, brother.
Cheers, brother.
Kind of a discombobulated video. Sorry about that. We had just
Bunch of stuff.
that we didn't really. Well, Kenny got stuff done.
I got
Belts,
belts put on. I got
lock put in the trunk.
yeah, we got the lock put in the trunk. Negative wire hooked up to the alternator that didn't seem to cure the generator light problem?
Well, it didn't cure the generator light problem, but it is showing that voltage slowly going up on the battery, whereas in the previous video I had nothing showing on the battery when I tested it. So we think the alternator might just be weak. We need to pull it off and go get it tested.
Yeah.
But anyhow, folks, we're just want to get Goldie running. Just to put some miles on her, work out the kinks. Got to get the brake lights working, and that steering column ignition housing piece. I'm gonna continue searching for it.
Yeah,
but
because there's the little bit of searching we did do, nothing's available. It must be a very popular piece,
or just
buy a whole new steering column, which
I don't want to really do right now.
It's a lot of money.
So we'll maybe I'll just put that steering column back together.
And
We
put
figured
two
out the
switches.
ignition slide switch.
We could-
we know it works.
Well, yeah, but we could take and leave that in the on position and have a toggle switch because you'd have to reach down there and mess with it every time. If you have for the coil wire, then have a button to push.
That's what I was talking about.
Yeah.
Wiring in a toggle to energize the starter so you can start it, and a push button to start it.
Yeah.
Right. Toggle and a
Yeah.
hot wire basically. But anyhow, folks,
It was a good day.
hey, good day hanging out with my brother drinking beer.
Yeah.
So, and she fires up and just sits there and purrs. It's amazing. So,
Ken,
Ray,
Two Drunk Brothers Garage. Cheers, everybody.
Cheers,
brother.
Thanks for watching. We appreciate it. Thumbs up,
Like, comment.
subscribe.
Yep.
We'd appreciate it. Thank you, everyone.